We're live with Gabriella Kőrösi. Did I pronounce that right?
Well, Dr. Gabriella Kőrösi.
Kőrösi. Okay.
Yeah.
And you're coming to us live from Hungary, are you not?
Yes, I am. Still
Wow.
here.
So, one conversation at a time is what I'm really thinking Harrowings is doing here to try to heal the world a day at a time as we heal ourselves from the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune that are visited upon us. And the last time we talked a lot about Dr. Gabriella's head injury that she suffered in
Yeah.
India, and she's healing from that. She's over with her mother going for a walk today, which I think is just lovely because you think about it, if that you said you felt like part of you died then, and
Yes.
that you're a different person now, but she's still
Mhm.
your mother, and
Yes.
you took time with her, and she's still here, and that's just really a gift. So tell me whatever you want about whatever's going on. We've covered a little ground already in pregame, but I'm going to shut up.
Yeah, I think that's an important part, like, that I have decided to come home and spend extra time with family. And basically, I told all my family, I'm here. Anytime you want to spend with me, message me, I'll come and spend with you. So, like this past weekend, I was able to go to one of my nephew's games, and cheer for him. And it was great. I spent the whole day with my sister's family and, cheering for a young one. And that was a lot of fun. And then, yeah, I've been trying to take 1 to 2 walks with my mom every day in the morning and in the evening. And just help her out with stuff. Like today I did some cooking of this new dish that I haven't made before. I just tried it at my sister's. It's called seitan. You make it with part of the wheat that has the most protein. So it's interesting. It's kind of like a squishy bread.
Huh.
It's kind of like a spongy, squishy bread, but it's just like a meat alternative. You can use it any way you want it. And like I liked it, my mom didn't, but that's okay. We tried something new, and then I also made crepes, which everybody loves crepes. So with all kinds of fillings. So that was a hit at least. But I'm all into trying new things, be open, and for example, we also go to some of the thermal baths because some of the thermal baths are kind of close to us. So, and I met an 82-year-old lady there, and she's going to come out tomorrow because she wanted to meet with me more. And then I met her sisters, and she's going to come out. She wants to write her story, and she doesn't know how to start. So tomorrow she's going to visit us, and we're going to have a conversation with her and my other writer friend, Gabriella Tata. She's going to come over. So we're going to have this like mini
Right.
writer club conversation and just,
So
you
lovely.
know, talk about storytelling. And so I'm just trying to be open to people who are open and interested in life, storytelling, writing, and see what comes of it. You know?
That's great. And reaching outside of your immediate bubble to bring in new people that haven't met you before, and
Yeah.
that's so important as well. I was writing a bit about, the global emotional temperature. I don't know if you
Hmm.
saw that post, but I basically used a chat bot to help me analyze the situation because I'm like, there's something different here. Used to be we were shouting at each other across the aisles trying to get our points across and, make sure that the other party on the other side of the issue, whatever it was put in their place. And now we're not doing that anymore.
Yeah.
Culturally. I mean, I don't know if it's global. It feels like it's global. Certainly in my world, I see that people are shutting down. They've overloaded their nervous systems. I know you can talk about your nervous system, right?
Yeah, I sure
And
can.
well, go ahead.
Well, what happened to me after my injury is that my brain literally shut down. Like it didn't allow me to do anything that was chaotic, right? So politics, news, not even looking at a computer.
Right.
And even now, it's just literally, if it gets too much, my my brain just stops. Like, it's just like, I can't, like, I have to walk away. It's just not, it just doesn't want to function. So I actually like it in a way, because before it was too much, there's too much in the news, there's too much chaos, too much stimulation. And right now my brain lets me know, no, that's enough. Now you need to go and rest or walk or, be out in nature or anything like that. But it doesn't allow me to do too much that is um, overstimulating or chaotic, you know. As
So you keep it orderly. First things first.
Kind of, in a way, like even sometimes in the morning, if it starts with a light sensitivity, I can't even look at the phone. It's too bright,
Yeah.
or can't turn the light on. So that allows me to do some exercises, walk into the kitchen, make a tea or a hot chocolate or coffee, whatever I decide to start with the morning. Although starting with water is the best. So if you can, first do the water and then do all the other things.
What's that?
Water, to start with water first,
Right, right.
and then do all those things.
Yeah.
So I do try to do that, and just spending more time with me and getting to know the new me and all that. So, but yeah, the nervous system is very interesting, and my brain definitely, I feel that it works differently than how it worked before. But it almost like it needed a rewiring, because it was too much before, too much stimulation, too much chaos. And right now it's not allowing me to do that. Like, it's automatically like stops me. It's weird, but I'm getting used to it and learning it, how to function with it.
And you're listening to it.
Mm-hmm. You have to, because they told me to listen to it, because otherwise it's not going to heal right. So then your brain tells you to stop. It's too much. You're too tired. Don't look at the screen. You just have to.
Yeah. And, traumatic brain injury is a topic that's near and dear to my heart because I dated a specialist in the field years ago.
Yeah, you were mentioning that. Yeah.
She did a lot of treatment of people with amantadine hydrochloride at the time and was experimenting with that, doing research, trying to find, pharmaceutical intervention, certainly. But she also would work with her clients, on what the sequelae of their injuries were in terms of processing the world around them and just what light sensitivity, for instance, can do to us.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so many different impacts that it has, and it's invisible relatively to the people
Yeah,
around. Kind of like neurodivergence is invisible to a lot of people.
absolutely. I
So,
had a conversation with my dad, because
yeah,
it's like, well, you look fine. I'm like, wow, let me tell you. And then I used to tell him all the things that's going up, and he was like, oh, well, that doesn't sound too good. I'm like, no, it's just because I can walk and talk, and now I can laugh, which I like.
yes.
It doesn't mean that I'm fully 100%. My brain is still healing. So yeah,
And I think at some level or another, particularly with people with chronic traumatic stress in their lives, and who doesn't have it?
yeah,
um, it's similar. We need to balance and do hydrate people. We are mostly water. I don't know. Do you remember, or did you watch any of the Star Trek Next Generation series back in the 90s?
yeah. Well, yeah, yeah.
And they encountered this sand life form or something, which was they figured out was sentient. And when they got the translator, the universal translator onto these things, they kept referring to people as ugly bags of mostly water.
Well, I think we are like 95% water. So yeah, we
Yeah,
definitely need to
mostly.
hydrate.
I like to think of myself as a weather system. It's just
There you
particularly a concentrated weather system because I'm constantly, exchanging gases with the atmosphere, mostly, hopefully more out than in, really. And
go.
there's this issue of just knowing that I am composed of all these myriad creatures in addition to myself, parasites, the gut biome, and that I'm supporting all of those, and it's like, "Oh, I've got a little family here." They
So
may not
actually, it's a really big family. There's
That's
millions of them in there. It's kind
trillions.
of weird to think about it. It's like
Yeah.
sometimes I talk to myself. This might sound weird, but sometimes I'm like, I hope you guys are doing okay in there. You know? I mean,
I don't
yeah,
think that's weird at all. I think it's
yeah,
necessary, and I think it's helpful because I think they talk back to us. Maybe not in language, but they're talking back to us. I mean, my gut, it is something else when my girlfriend or my wife will put her I only have one at a time, by the way. Um, put her head against my stomach, and she's like, "It's like a war in there," because I
mhm,
it's very vocal. Just things move
yeah.
around, and different excretions happen, and, I think we probably don't do ourselves enough justice for just how amazingly complex the human body is, much less the nervous system that sort of controls a lot of the functioning. But it all working together, the systems of systems that we are, but take it into systems thinking. And I do think about systems thinking a lot because, I was an enterprise architect for years. And the idea of enterprise architecture is you're trying to link the strategy and objectives of the organization, which itself, as Mitt Romney reminded us, corporations are people, friends. But from their strategies and objectives down through their business processes used to achieve those objectives and the data that's flowing through those business processes, and then the systems and applications that process that data into the business processes, whether those are systems actually are just people, a spreadsheet, or something like an app. And then the infrastructure, all that runs on that it's dependent on for functioning, and being able to visualize that whole stack, right? And secure it at all levels so that the organization itself can function. It's very similar to the human body, that idea. I don't know, you've got, actually some business, uh, offers and stuff going on too. I wanted to segue into that part of our conversation ahead of this, where people are reaching out to you saying, "Hey, do you need an editor?" And you have no idea who this person is. You wanna talk a little bit about that? Because I think that's funny.
Yeah, yeah. Just before I say that, I just wanted to say
Oh,
that
yeah. Wherever
I
you yeah.
I do believe that we are a walking miracle. I mean, if you look at all the different things that are in our body, our cells, our muscles, our heart, I
Right.
mean, I think especially I wrote a lot about this in poems and poetry and just in general writing about just like I love how the heart cells, just like one cell can beat on its own. Like how magical that
Right.
is, and how many times we just walk around not even thinking about it, what is inside of us and how all this works. And I am with the injury and my ankle surgery and the multiple breaks, and, bruises and my head. I just really have to slow down. And even, I mean, I was already admiring the body before, but now I am just like even more in awe. Like then you slow down and take time to think about, yeah, all those cells had to heal. All those cells had to come together that was bruised and pained and had abrasions before and breaks before. And they are all working together to heal you, to become a more whole person. And yet, our whole person is not a tiny speck in this whole world, the universe, right? I mean, and we are built from these millions and billions of molecules. And it's just fascinating, truly. But going back to your question, it's really funny how some people just think that they can just, you know, just join your writing, join your publication, join your project without before showing any interest or even knowing you. So recently I received a few emails when it says, "Can I be an editor in your publication?" And I don't even know the person. I never saw them before. I never talked to them before. They have never commented on any of my work. They are not a writer in my publication. I have not read any of their work. They didn't even send a resume or a sample or nothing. And then I write to those people back. I'm like, that's really not how it works, you know? Usually you have to show some kind of initiative. And even that, like right now, first of all, I don't even have an opening. But usually I would want to know you before I choose you to be an editor in my publication or even a writer. Like in my publication in Dancing Elephant Press, in Substack, we collaborate with people and people who I know, they send in articles that we, show or put in our magazines. But also in the Medium platform, because we had so many robots and so many things, so many people who like barely even spoke English submitting the request, I closed the opening to be a writer. I said, if you want to write in my publication, I wrote that in body of the submission guidelines. If you want to write for my publication, then please send me a reason why and send me a sample article that you would like to publish. And then I can make a decision with myself or with my editorial team if
Mhm.
we want to include you. Well, I still get a comment just add me as a writer. I'm like, can you please write the submission guidelines? Can you please read them? Can you please this is not how it works. I mean, even if somebody emails me, many times they forget to add an article or say why. That's the only thing I ask. Send me a sample article and tell me why you want to be part of our publication. And even if I get there that somebody emails me, they forget one of those two things. So it's just really interesting how much people don't even read, a guideline. You want to be part of my publication, but then you don't read the guideline how to be a part of it. It's kind of weird. I don't know.
Yeah, it is a little weird. And, it's kinda like somebody coming up to you and in a bar situation or something, didn't even buy you a drink. It's like, that's not appropriate, and the thing is, I think a lot of people are just spamming, and they miss
Yeah.
100% of the shots they don't take, right? So I understand that, and if they are even real, I don't know, I had one today, for instance, who reached out to me and said, "Oh, where are you from?"
Yeah.
Read my Substack. I mean, this person's a free subscriber to my Substack, so I kinda don't wanna throw them out under the bus just yet.
Yeah.
But I said, "Read my Substack, and by the way, when people ask me that question, it's a classic indication that you're not real,
Yeah.
that I shouldn't waste my
Yeah.
time with you, and unless I get a really good response from you, consider yourself reported for spamming and
Mhm.
block."
Yeah. I get those in
With that
Substack
said, I have to
too.
lose a subscriber, and, I cherish my subscribers, but
Of course.
I don't need junk subscribers. I just crossed 800, by the way, which I'm
No.
good. I don't know. How many have you got now in the world? Do you know?
I I
You
don't know
you don't even
exactly.
watch? Good. Don't, because I think that's what it's about, right? We write for our best selves, for something within us that needs to express itself, right? We give
Yeah.
expression to a voice that may or may not be us, as far as I'm concerned. And that's what I write for. I don't write for you, the reader.
You don't? You
If
shouldn't.
you do read me, wonderful. But, I don't write for you. I write for that thing within me that feels it needs to express itself, a world spirit, I think, that pours through the writer.
Mhm.
We filter
Oh,
it, right, through our experience, through our abilities with language and things like that. But really, there are things that want to be written out
yeah.
there in pleroma, I call it, right? You're familiar with the concept of the pleroma, the fullness?
Mhm. Yes.
There sort of amorphously, kind of like the Akashic field in which
Mhm.
all of everything, all potentiality, the quantum vacuum, where things emerge from it and drop back, kinda like
I have
this.
experienced it.
Tell me about it.
Well, it's really interesting because when you go to that other side,
Mhm.
there's always so much that you are able to remember because your brain has difficulty processing all that information,
Sure,
right?
sure.
But I had experiences when I have crossed what we call the veil to get a glimpse of what is on the other side. You can call it afterlife, you can call it, the spiritual realm or another dimension, however you call it. If you experienced it, you know what I'm talking about. Um, what I experienced is that it was this beautiful place where everything made sense and you know everything. You didn't have to ask a question about anything because you already know the answer. And it was all welcoming. There was no hatred, only love and kindness. And it was um, people didn't have full bodies. It was like you could see a face, kind of like this floating image, but people were more like energies, if that makes kind of a sense.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a really calming experience. And I remember having questions and knowing the answers, but by the time I got back to where I was, those answers were gone. But I just remember the feeling, a feeling of comfort. And oh my God, it was so beautiful. I didn't want to come back, but
Right.
obviously I still have things to do here because I'm here. But it was so beautiful and nice. So like I don't have a fear of that because I have seen the other side and it's beautiful. It's magical. And it's, yeah.
Have you read Carl Jung's Memories, Dreams, and Reflections by any chance, or seen it?
No, I have not.
I recommend it because there's a passage in there where he has a heart attack and he almost dies, and he goes to that. And actually, in his view, it was very interesting as how his perspective of this experience was, the near-death experience. They came back and went on until 1961 when he passed away in, I think, June of that year. Interesting character. I sort of pull that up because what you're talking about reminded me of it. Another one that it reminded me of was the exegesis of Philip K. Dick and his 2374 experience. You familiar with that one? Philip K. Dick, the science fiction writer. He got hit with pink light that basically helped him to understand everything like instantaneously. And among other things, he became aware that his son had something wrong with him that was going to be life threatening. And it turned out he was right.
Mhm.
And this knowledge came to him.
Mhm.
He didn't go looking for it really. It just like hit him.
Yeah.
And he was on a lot of drugs. So it may have had to do with this, but who knows? I mean, who can really tell what's going on there? I think Edgar Casey, if you're familiar with the sleeping prophet Edgar Casey.
Yes.
Yeah, there you go. A lot of his things, like going into this trance sleep state and being able to read the body
Yes.
of somebody at distance. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I'm also Reiki master
Oh,
in
good.
trained in that. Yeah. So I can feel certain things as well. It's like one of those things that you feel that there's something wrong and you call your mother or call your sister or your best friend and they were just getting ready to call you or they got just admitted to the hospital or they just had a fall or, like we are connected in
Yep,
so many magical ways that
we are.
I look at them. I just had a conversation with a friend, actually, Gabriella told me to tell her about this, because I see connections like strings. So I can see a string between you and me and with other people. Some strings are different colors, different thickness, but we all have a connection. Some are black. It's me, avoid those guys, but
This is very interesting. It reminded me of something Tiffany Shlain talked about
uh-huh.
being able to see this black color on her father when he was first diagnosed with a cancer that he beat.
Yeah.
Uh, but there are many different things in that. Connected is the name of the film, actually. Go ahead.
Yeah. So I think many people, especially when you pay attention, many people can see and feel these things. But part of it is that our life now is so fast paced, so focused on money and consumerism and all those things that many times people don't have a chance to slow down and actually pay attention to each other and pay attention to these connections and these lines, however you see them. And you might see them differently than I see them, and that's okay. And I think that is could be one of the problems is people like, no, my way is the right way. No, there's no right way. I'm going to experience something differently than you are. That's just because we are all different. We are all unique in a certain way. We are all made of similar cells, but our brain waves, our thoughts, our the way we observe the world is going to be different. So if you see the string, yellow and I seen it pink, does it matter? No. It's how we perceive it.
Yeah, I think perception too is most people's reality. My
Mhm.
perception is my potential hallucination. I don't know if you follow my thinking there, but
Yeah.
the idea is I've kept myself in this maybe state of
Mhm.
this is the way it appears to me, but I could be wrong.
No,
Maybe
you're not wrong. You're not
maybe I ought to hold back a little bit before judging. No, give me a minute.
wrong. Okay.
And if you disagree, I'll let you disagree. But my point of
Okay.
view is limited and distorted by dint of the fact that I've got a limited hearing range and I've got a limited visual range. Visual light is a very small part of the spectrum. There is the reality of the unseen. So go ahead. You can refute me. You wish I saw you go like,
No.
oh, you're right.
Oh,
No,
no. I was just gonna say that your perception is your perception, and maybe you meant to see the and hear the world that way.
no,
To be able to provide a different point of view, a
yeah,
different way to connect with people, because of those things, you connect with people differently than somebody else. You explain things differently. Your brain works differently. All those things, but that just make you you.
yeah. It's like that. I feel I keep open.
Hmm.
But I also have some barriers too, and there are areas inside of me which basically have resistance. So if
Okay.
someone comes at me in the wrong way, like you were talking about earlier,
Hmm.
they're apt to find themselves encountering a very different Hal Gill than the one they would encounter if they were coming at me with a more open hand, so to speak. But if
Hmm.
I did get this just yesterday. I was telling my story to a group in recovery, and, afterwards, I was having a good time talking to the people a little bit who were there, and, some of them were old friends of mine who had shown up for the first time in this group, which was great. And then there was another one who's a pretty regular one who had the honesty to say, "After hearing your lead, I like you better now. In the past, I
Oh.
thought you were this way and that way and that way." And I was like, "Yeah, I know. I can feel that." It's kinda like those black threads, right?
Hmm.
Feel that kind of rejection.
Hmm.
But, you know, any type of attention is still attention.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, I was really kinda, like, thinking of this in the broader terms of, like, "Okay, you can treat me that way and get away with it." And apparently you feel comfortable doing so, which is really interesting information. Um, However, you probably extend that to an awful lot of other people, and those people will respond by cutting that cord.
Yeah.
So your world is diminished in some way
Mhm.
by cutting those connections. You know what? I love the network effects, right? And I look at each one of those strings up between you and
Yeah.
me and any of these people who are logging in here and joining us. By the way, tell us who you are, where you are, and how you are. Those are
I
always
know Ashley. Thank you, Ashley, for joining us.
yeah, she's here. And
Yeah.
Wonderful is here and Tara Nidge, and we go up the string. We run into Richard Hogan, who's a frequent flyer here, Paul K as well.
And I think I
JW
saw.
I've never seen before that I know. Good morning, Ashley. And so my point is, I look at it as this enormous stringed instrument around me, and I'm just going and seeing which of those actually vibrate, which ones give me a return for
Mhm.
my investment.
Yeah.
I can look at this in very transactional ways. I don't.
Mhm.
I tend to basically just give away and see what comes back. If nothing comes back, nothing comes back. And then do I cut that cord? Not necessarily. I don't know how to interpret silence. I miss 100% of the shots I don't take. So I figure something I throw out there on that line, like in a fishing situation,
Mhm.
might actually hit pay dirt and transform somebody else's brain in a way that actually is meaningful and helpful. And that's my intent, is to be helpful. I realize a lot of people take me as this woman had. This woman up in Brooklyn decided that I was somehow not a good person. I don't know what that meant entirely to her. But I was definitely got her judgment. I was really grateful for the fact that he was honest enough to say it, because I know a lot of people have that response and sort of reaction to my existence. And they project onto me something that may or may not belong to me at all, and probably doesn't. It's probably about their shadow,
Yeah.
right? The shadow projections we do on each other. There's a lot of that in the world right now, and we've got to grow up, people. Anyway, over to you.
It's so
Don't
it's so it's so easy to judge other people, right? I
right.
mean, like what you're talking about, this woman
And it's the best. I love
making an
doing it.
assumption. Yeah, just the same way how people make an assumption based on how you look, or you know, or how you maybe speak for the first time, but you might not know, like, then I didn't grow up here, right? I learned another, English is my second language. So of course I'm gonna sound different. But you don't know how many other languages I am trying to learn at the same time. So right now, maybe in my head, there's 5 different languages rolling around and trying to speak one of them, So it's so easy to make a judgment on how somebody looks, but you don't know what kind of health issues they have, what kind of struggles they have. So I try not to judge. I think it's really difficult not to judge people when they come across ill-hearted, like what you were talking about.
Right.
Like when they judge you, it's really hard not to judge them. So I'm working on that.
Oh, I
But
just opened up with both barrels on the whole of humanity. Because we're all like that. I've got
Mhm,
that clean shadow inside me. If I spot it, I
mhm.
got it.
Yeah.
Now, that may seem a little simplistic, admittedly, but
But
you're right.
I know what you mean.
But the
So
area that you went into, right? Was that during the fast when you went into the area where you had that access to the answers?
um
Was that?
I did sometime but it was different than then I kind of went into space and went into the depth of Mother Earth, but which was a different, and I received some wisdom of words and things like that. But actually, one of them was at work when I was at work. I was working in addiction recovery, and I
There
just took like a half an hour lunch break, and I lay down. We created a quiet room, and I lay down and I just closed my eyes, and within a few minutes, I was like out in this
huh,
universe, and and then it was just a few minutes, but to me, it felt like I spent hours there. It is so amazing
okay.
how time just floats differently. And then a few other times, like while I was in acupuncture and I was totally relaxed, usually it's in a very relaxed state. When I go into a very relaxed, deep relaxation state, then something like this opens up unexpectedly. If you look for it, it doesn't work. It comes when it needs to come unexpectedly. So it's very interesting.
I don't know if we've talked about the Monroe Institute before or not. Are you familiar with the Monroe Institute? Monroe Institute. Anyway,
I
it's down in Faber, Virginia, and Robert Monroe wrote Voyages Out of the Body, and then The Ultimate Voyage, and another one in between. I forget what it was. Um, but the idea is that he had out of body experiences, but he was a radio engineer. So he took an engineering idea, you know, and they do a lot with hemisync technology. Are you familiar with that? Where you get one beat in one ear, the other binaural beats, they call it. And it
Mhm.
into this theta wave state of consciousness and enables out of body experiences in theory. I've gone there, done their like free weekend or experience or whatever, free
Oh,
days,
okay.
and checked it out. I didn't have an out of body experience that I know of, but then again, could happen. I've had them before when I'm like overtired, feverish, whatever, and you feel like you're floating up out of your body, or you feel
Yeah.
like doing things, and then you realize you're actually in sleep paralysis.
Yeah.
You're in that liminal state between consciousness and unconsciousness. Anyway,
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's interesting, right? It's fascinating. And a lot
Yeah.
of people believe a lot of things, it's amazing how many different beliefs are out there. And my favorite guy on this thing, it goes with my maybe logic, where I'm like, I don't know, I think just this is my perspective, I could be wrong, is Robert Anton Wilson, who
Okay.
said, I believe nothing, but I have many suspicions.
Hmm.
That's it. You
Yeah, and I
know?
and I think that goes back to what we talked about before. Everybody's perception is different,
Yeah.
so we can share our stories. But already, just you and I sharing the stories, we had some similarities. You had out of body experiences. I had some, and I think most of us do. We might not remember. I think many times it happens in a dream state, because then your story lasts. I remember in dream states that I traveled like continents there, like I flew over things and I saw things that I didn't see before. And then I was able to recognize later. And then I looked it up and I'm like, I was there, but I was in a dream state here. But yes, like yet I was also not. And I don't know if you had anything similar to this. Sometimes, it feels like I'm dreaming, but in this deep dream state, I like live another life. And then you wake up and you're like, oh, I'm back here now. It's just so interesting. So many, and yet sometimes the people are similar but different. You might
Mhm.
be married to the same person or married to somebody else. And I think part of it is like all these realities can interact with each other. So we know we live in this reality for sure, but I do feel like there's coexisting realities next to us and parallel universes and all these things. There's a really amazing metaphysician, Mara Muter, who I really love and I follow her. I read all her books and attend her fireside chats, and she explains all this stuff
Who?
that makes sense to me. I'm going to write her name.
Oh, great. I was gonna also comment that when Carl Jung had his heart attack and was brought back, and I actually apparently had this experience about 5 years ago, that,
Yeah.
the thing that happened to him, he's very depressed after he came back, and a lot of people who have heart attacks are very depressed after having a heart attack.
Mhm.
A friend of mine
Yeah.
down in Virginia, Rob Warren, is recovering from a heart attack right now. We used to be cricketers together, and now I'm losing the thread. So going back to Carl Jung, he was depressed, and he said, now I have to go back to the world of the boxes,
Yes.
like the three-dimensional
Yes.
thing, and
Absolutely.
didn't wanna go. But his doctor's avatar, or I forget exactly what he said it was, came to him when he was floating well above Earth and said that there had been a protest had gone up from Earth that his presence was required back there. And he said, he said to his doctor, "You cannot be doing that kind of out of body stuff. This is can be really, really dangerous to you." And sure enough, the doctor died soon thereafter. Anyway,
Well,
go figure.
I do believe that we are here for a reason because if it's not, and I think it's to have the experience on Earth and observe and to truly build community and support each other. Because otherwise,
Mm.
I could have died in India. I could have died when I was not crying when I was born 2.5 months early. I could have died when I crossed 5 lanes when I fall asleep on I-5. There's
Mm.
so many times after working a 24-hour shift as a nurse because I had to stay a double shift.
Yes.
So there's so many times in my life that something could have happened and
Mhm.
it didn't. So I feel like, and yet we have people, we lose them so young, so unexpectedly, and so
Yes.
painful. Y-
I have one of those. I'm wearing my Colonial Williamsburg bass and drums hoodie.
Mhm.
Cold here in DC. Um, but we lost 50 years ago. No, 55 years ago. No, I have to do my math right. It was 50 years ago on January 21st that a young man and a couple of young men, actually 3 of them, all told, fell through the ice of Queens Lake. And one got out and 2 did not. And one of them was one of our fife and drum guys. And we have an award in his honor and has been given to a young man who embodies the core ethos and the how do you tell whether they embody the core ethos? Well, you have their fellow pipers and drummers vote on it. And
Mhm.
my buddy Lance, who I grew up with, had won it 3 times in a row. And, before him, Russ, another friend that I've tried to have on Harrowings before, but it for some reason, it didn't take. So I gotta have Russ back. Russ goes and climbs mountains these days. He's a hell of a mountain biker. He's had lots of replacements lately of the piece parts of him, but, it's amazing. He goes to Kilimanjaro. He's done all this stuff, and I'm convinced that, there's something about the personality that's driven to those heights, really,
Yeah,
when it comes down to it. And hypoxia can be a real good driver for these out of body and kind of time shifting, time bending kind of experiences. I nearly died of pneumonia in 1996. And I remember having dreams that lasted on the clock 15 minutes of unconsciousness, but they were
mhm.
months and detailed
Yes,
lives I was living in.
exactly. That's what I'm talking about. Yeah,
Right. And we was talking Star Trek Next Generation a while back, and one of their episodes, Picard has an entire lifetime in like a split second.
yeah.
And
Have
it's
you had similar
brutal,
experiences?
right?
Because I had. Have you
Yes.
had anything like this? Yeah, I had those experiences too, and it's so amazing because just like you're like, what just happened? I'm back here now, and I just lived this other life, and it's like so weird and interesting and cool and unbelievable at the same time. And just what you were mentioning earlier, it's like you're also questioning your mind. What's this? This is really happened? Like, is this just me? But I just so much love all this that we are having this conversation because now we know that you had these experiences, I had these experiences, all these people we mentioned
With
had
traveling.
similar experiences. So we are for sure not crazy. These things do happen, right? So I mean,
Stretch.
right?
Well, we are human beings having a human experience, and most
Yeah,
humans have a kind of shamanistic kind of cultural mythos we are compilations of all of this. And, when Jung was talking about being visited by his father who had died, his father wanted to because his mother passed away, and his father wanted to talk to Jung about the latest research in marriage because he was gonna be taking up again the marriage relationship in that since his wife had crossed over. Isn't that interesting?
yeah,
Memories, Dreams, and Reflections, I'm telling you, is so worth the price of admission. It's
yeah,
a sort of spiritual memoir of Jung. It's not really gonna follow a lot well, it does sort of follow a logical sequence from birth to on through, and also his beliefs about his own ancestry and the legends in the family, intergenerational trauma. I mean, you're an addictions counselor or nurse, registered nurse, right? And do
yes.
also do you have your PhD in help me out,
Public health.
public health. And academically, as well as from experience, just what kind of public health issues are out there.
Oh my God. Don't
And
even get me
so
started.
many of them are treatable if we would just pick up the tools that have been laid at our feet and apply them to ourselves, right?
Absolutely.
And I can't heal myself in isolation, though. I really do need that feedback of the community. Even if
Yeah.
that feedback is, I never liked you until I heard your whole story. Well, you didn't ask. You didn't bother trying to get to know me. And
Yeah.
you just sort of
Exactly.
judged me by a book by its cover. And you probably do that with most of the people in your world. And you want to know what's wrong with the world? That kind of thing.
Well, I do think that we can support each other. We can find each other, just like how you and I found each other, and those 20 people who joined us today found each other. And we can support each other as a community by doing exactly what we're doing, talking about these type of things. And please, if anybody have a question or suggestion, do put it in the chat. Thank you, Ashley, for asking both Hal and I to be on your podcast, of
Maybe we
course.
should do it, all three of us.
Yeah, yeah, that would be fun too.
That way I could like stand in the background.
I can't foresee you standing in any kind of
I,
background
you know,
ever, but
that's my thing. Didn't you know? You were saying,
no, I
let me finish.
no, I can't imagine it. No.
Actually, it is my thing. I
Mhm.
really prefer to be the person in the shadows who basically brings other people together to see
Okay.
what happens.
All
I
right.
want
So
to
who is
analyze
the magical person you're gonna bring me together with? I'm
in
waiting to
the
see.
in the world of elective affinities. I'm a
Yes.
catalyst, is what I like to think. I like that role. You
I
know,
know. I like to bring people together too.
elective affinities in German is called Wahlverwandtschaften.
No, I did
It's a
not know.
novel by Goethe,
Oh, by the really?
and
Okay.
it's two ways, right? He was aware of in chemistry the elective affinity of different substances for each other. And he saw the characters in his novel as like elements.
Mhm.
And then when he brought them together,
Oh,
things would
I love
happen.
that.
Yeah. So,
I love chemistry and I love the periodic table and all that. So I mean, that just sounds fascinating.
and periodic table, I can say the words, um, came to Mendeleev. Is that who developed it? I forget. But anyway,
Uh,
whoever developed it, it came to him in a dream, kind of like the structure of DNA.
yeah.
Supposedly, I have to fact check myself on all these things. The double helix, and I don't know. It's the way it appears to me that this is kind of significant, and that a lot of our subconscious processing. Because when I'm going to sleep, I'm working on the processes of the day, and
Yeah.
I'm going through stuff. And the other day, though, I had this weird one where I was back in Denmark, totally different building scenario, an apartment where I was visiting my ex-girlfriend. She looked different, and of course, it still didn't work. And I was trying to board a train to leave. I was just gonna be there for a day or 2, and then I was leaving. And I left my damn bag with my computer in it back somewhere else. I was on the train, I was, like, going to the airport, and I was like, "I can't go on the airport, I don't have my bag." I
Mhm.
missed my flight. And I was like, "Oh, well, then I guess I missed my flight." Yeah. And, I'm all quite often over there in Europe traveling by train. That's what I find.
You must really like trains.
And going on walks, particularly somewhere in Rome.
Mhm.
You been down to Rome recently or ever?
I no, I have not been in Rome. I have been in other parts of Italy, and I am 14% Italian, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
I have been in Venice and some other parts, Florence and some other parts, yeah, but not in Rome, not yet.
Ah, well, Rome's fun. Venice is fun too, I found. I took a night train from Munich to Venice on, I believe, September 13th of 2003, and spent the day touring the Venice Biennale, which was
Mhm.
all over Venice.
Yeah.
Just really fun. I sat by the, Rialto and read, I think it's called the Rialto, and I read, Paulo Coelho's, The Alchemist. And somewhere around here, no, it's not handy. Oh, there it is. I just, found this one. Have you ever heard of The Valkyries?
Yes, I have.
Which has An Encounter with Angels as a subtitle. Where do you stand on angels?
Yeah, angels are pretty amazing.
Have you had any encounters?
Yes, I have.
I thought I'd hear about those. That sounds like a good topic. Oh, I got about 10 minutes.
No, I don't, you know, so there's two different ways to look at it. You can look at it like, do we like, do we have a guardian angel? And what I have seen since I was a child, that people who have passed on, they would watch over me and
Hmm.
I would call them my guardian angels. So like my uncle who died when he was 19 and he was always like a brother to me and he was 10 years older than me. And whenever I was sad or upset or anything, he would show up over my left shoulder and just show his presence. It was really calming for me.
Yeah.
And my grandma would show up if there was some kind of issue. And for a long time, I just felt like they are my guardian angels. I can call on them anytime. I could feel them. I could see them. Not like I see you. It's a different type of like. It's almost like you feel their vibration, that they are just there for you.
Psychic
Uh,
vision.
yeah, yeah, exactly. It's kind of an inner eye in a way. But then I have seen, when crossing over to the other side, I seen like these guiding energies who I could call angels, but they're also they are like this other form of entity that is so magical, that it's hard to describe. But some of the movies and stories actually get it really good. Like if you think about like this little floating thing, except they're not angry or upset or anything like that, like Tink does. But like this, it's really calm face, but it's also like this energy. It's not a full face, and this kind of like whitish, yellowish light around them, and there's this really calming presence. So you can call them angels, you can call them entities, you can call them spirits, you can call them the divine, however you want to call them. But also, they are not really separate from us. They are part of us, right? So, because everything and all is connected, and we are also connected to this other side. So, they are not really, I don't look at them as anything separate
Now,
from ourselves. If you've been there and if you've seen it, you feel like that they're a part of you and you're a part of them.
yeah, I relate to that a lot. I was just throwing in the links to Wings of, oh, not links, but the names of 2 films, Wings of Desire and its sequel, Far Away So Close. Have you ever seen those? Himmel über Berlin is one name of one of them. One of them was done before the fall of the wall in Berlin, and the other one is done after, right after. And,
Not, I mean, I could have known that I recall,
the
but
second one opens with Mikhail Gorbachev actually playing a role, believe it or not, signing paperwork to see if, this, you know, change in the Warsaw Pact and the relation of Russia and the United States could change the world or not. We'll see what
yeah.
they. And the angel Cassiel is hanging over his shoulder listening to him
Mm,
because that's what the angels do. Basically, they walk around through our world with us. They see everything in black and white, and they think in terms of eternity, and they don't think in terms of time, but they hear all of our thoughts, and then
mhm,
they, take them down
mhm.
into the Akashic record or whatever. And it's a fascinating film. So I highly recommend Wings of Desire. Wim Wenders is the director. I'll put that in here. Wim Wenders. And the first one is just beautiful. The second one is a little contrived. In both of them, Peter Falk plays a role as himself, but also as a fallen angel.
Mhm.
So it's really very atmospheric. Basically, they started out talking about making this film that Wim Wenders had the vision for, and Otto Sanders told him, "Oh, it sounds great, but how will we find the story?" That was the way he phrased it, being a German native speaker. "How will we find the story?" He said, "Well, we'll find it together." And they did. They had a lot. The sort of making of the film you can find on YouTube. Um, just beautiful stuff, and it's worth thinking about that when I go out and do the passing show, I feel like I am in the mode of the angels, where I'm just taking in the passing show. I'm laying down that primary documentation for potentially historians in the future, potentially for nobody at all. And I think that's so important. What we talked about at the beginning, who we're writing for.
Yeah.
We're writing for our best selves. We're writing for that which wants to be expressed through us while we're here. And we can get our hand extended to each other. We can
Yes.
connect with one another. We can help each other bear the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune.
You know how interesting this is that you say this, because my mom actually found this.
Yes.
three, three poems that I have written 32 years ago in Hungarian.
That
And what you were just saying right now, I wrote a poem that basically just called Who I Am. So apparently I was already searching 32 years ago who I was. And it's written in Hungarian, but the whole question is who I am. And you're asking all these questions and going through all these years and months. And then you go into this cave, and in a cave, you find a door. And in the door,
Mhm.
and you open the door, and you find a mirror, and you're asking this mirror who I am, and you see yourself, and that was the answer.
Can you read the Hungarian? I won't understand it, but,
You want me to read it? I actually
I
read
wanna
it. I
hear
did
the
a video
sound.
about it because I wanted people to see what happens, like if they just listen to it, even if they don't understand it. What is the feeling that they get from it?
I'd love
You
to
want me
hear.
to read it in Hungarian? I
Yes,
will.
please. I'd love to hear the phonemes, you know?
Okay. Ki vagyok én? Szárnyaló emlékek zúdulnak fejemre. Ki vagyok én? Kérdezem joggal, de senki sem felel. Néma csönd honol, majd a homályabb lassan előbukkan egy halvány fénysugár. Kövesd, súgja lelkem, s megleled ki vagy, s én tanácsot követve tettem azt. Hegyeken, s völgyeken, vizeken, s tengereken, áramokon keresztül hosszú az út, s megállás nincsen. Hív a vezérfonáig jel, s megtudod ki vagy. Heteken s hónapokon át kukakba keresve jutottunk el egy hegyre. Itt volt egy barlang, volt itt egy ajtó, beléptünk, s a falnál megszakadt. Itt már egyedül vagyok. Egy szobába jutottam, hol körül az ajtó, egyet választhatok. S majd melyik a jó? Töprengbe néztem, s mivel időn futtam, bátran megindultam. Megnyitottam, s léptem. Tükörhöz értem. Kértem a választ. Ki vagyok én? Magamat láttam. Ez volt a válasz. There you go.
That is gorgeous. Thank you so much for that. And it's a nice note to end on as well. We've been on for about an hour, not quite. But let's do it again soon.
Sounds
I'm
good.
always up for it, basically. And we may have invitation to join Ashley Schmidt on her Dream Stackers. Yeah, thank you. Bravo. I think it's called Dream Stackers, something or other. Why not? I mean, we got to spread this around, you know?
Sounds good. Sounds good. Yeah, I love our connection. I love our conversation. Thank you so much for having me. It's
Pleasure.
such short notice. Like, let's do it. Okay, let's do it. I love it.
Yeah, that was perfect. I think the text came in sometime, the first one, like at 3 a.m. my time. So
Oops.
that's fine. I didn't hear it. I was asleep, but I got it, when I got up in the morning and I'm getting ready to hit the day and I'm like, okay, yeah, let's do something because I didn't have anything on my plate today. It started filling up. But right now I've just got to get over to this noon thing I do a regular noon AA meeting on Zoom that's based from the Key West Anchors Away Club of all
Oh,
places. But now it's just all, since the pandemic when it went online, it's just people from all over. And
mhm.
worth checking out. Key West Noon. If you want to look it up on the old Google thing, people can join in and if you have an interest. I mean, you don't even have to be an alcoholic to be a member of Alcoholics Anonymous. A lot of people don't know that. But it's true. You can just come and check it out and see on an open meeting and see what's happening and just try to keep under your hood who you see there, what you hear there. And there's some other kind of thing too. Who you see here, what you hear here, let it stay here. I think that's what they usually say. Don't let this stay here, folks. Let it go and amplify it through the good offices of Facebook. It's going to be put out on YouTube. It's going to be all over the place. So all we can do is try to amplify the signal of love and caring through the world.
Yeah, and share the conversation. Thank you so much, Bob, for having me. Thank you for
Thank
everybody for
you.
joining.
Out here.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.